is to attack. So let's go about the effect of spiritual marriage in women. I'm going to give you some of their characteristics in women and some of their characteristics in men. In women, one, a spiritual spouse or a spirit husband can block you from getting married. Too many of the single ladies in this day and age, when you do a spiritual diagnosis, you will find out that their inability to marry is the cause of them being already married spiritually to a spirit being. And we have different spirit beings that can marry women. Incubus and Succubus are just one of them. Ancestral spirit can marry you. Witchcraft spirit can marry you. False religions, the spirit that controls different cults can also marry people. So there are different spirits, and even some human personalities who are into psychic and witchcraft, they can choose to marry a person depending on your spirituality. And that's why we encourage you to build a personal relationship with Jesus and walk in the power and the anointing of God, so that you will not be easily possessed or married by this unclean spirit. But in the Western world, majority or the rate of divorce is high because many men or women especially are married spiritually. They can cause you not to enjoy your marriage. This is the reason why there's so much misunderstanding and also conflict and confusion in many relationships because of spiritual marriage. Husbands and wives can't seem to understand one another, and the little trivial things can easily trigger what is called quarreling. You ask yourself that how can we fight over unnecessary things? You and your husband keep on fighting over what? Unnecessary things. Things which doesn't matter, which things you can overlook. But the spirit husband will let the two of you engage in a lot of quarreling. Why? Because there's a spiritual spouse involved. They can bring constant confusion and misunderstanding between you and your spouse. They can cause divorce and separation. They can hinder you from enjoying sex with your spouse by causing you pain during intercourse. A lot of women, when they are having intercourse with their husbands, feel so much pain. It's a pain. It's a pain. When that happens, it's the spirit husband. He doesn't want you to have sex with your husband. So if your husband has sex with you, he makes sex an ordeal, something painful, something you don't wish to be part of, because it only gives you pain and not pleasure, and also can take away the desire from you for sex or from your husband for sex. And this is where it's very frustrating that a lot of women will see their husbands watching pornography or masturbating right in front of them, but they are not willing to have sex. But they will rather watch pornography or masturbate. It's not them, it's a spiritual spouse issue. You have to assess yourself and assess the person, what's going on. There is an intruder in that relationship. They can prevent you from getting pregnant. Spirit spouse cause a lot of barrenness, and many times they cause this barrenness through, first of all, there's what's called spiritual babies. When a man and a woman have sex, the byproduct, the end product is a baby, pregnancy and a baby. When a spiritual spouse has sex with a woman, their babies are fibroid. So fibroid many times are the physical manifestation of the sex being engaged by the spiritual spouse with the person, and then they will deposit these fibroids in your womb. And what it does is to also choke your physical children from coming into reality. So many people, when you go to the hospitals, they'll tell you you're unable to be pregnant. Why? Because there are a lot of fibroids that is blocking you from being pregnant. At that moment, you know that the spiritual spouse is the one whose seeds deposits through sex is releasing the fibroids in your life. So you have to become aggressive in prayer. They can cause constant miscarriages to pregnancy, constant miscarriages. Some women have been through 5, 6, 7 miscarriages. It's not normal, and many times you find yourself having sex in dreams, or you see something red. Some people, immediately they see red, then they will miscarry. Anything red in their dream. When they are pregnant and they see something red, the next thing is bleeding, and they will miscarry. Sometimes they will find somebody coming to hit their womb, their pregnancy, and then miscarry. Then it means that the spiritual spouse is doing everything possible to block you from having a physical child. For you to learn, sometimes I want it to be practical for people. Watch the movie Captive of the Mighty. It will throw more light. You can watch it on YouTube. It's Mount Zion movie, Captive of the Mighty. It will show you how this spirit also operates in marriages. They can cause constant miscarriage to your pregnancy. They can destroy your finances and career, cause barrenness. A lot of barrenness is spiritual spouse. A lot of stagnation, rejection, disappointment, promise and fail. A woman who is constantly experiencing constant rejection or promise and fail from men, spiritual spouse can be the reason to keep you just single, to keep you lonely for themselves. They cause also growth, hormonal imbalance. Some people, their hormones, your menstrual cycle is really messed up. It's not normal, it's not regular. And the regular menstrual duration, you go extra and 3 times longer, because the spiritual spouse is regulating your hormones so that your body will react differently from the normal. And that can be a strategy they use to block some people from becoming pregnant. They mess up their hormonal imbalance, and can also cause growth on your sexual organs. They plant fibroid into your womb to block pregnancy. They can cause prolonged and painful menstruation. These are all things when you know it, whenever you are praying, you tackle this and you ask God to bring you deliverance. Painful menstruation. They can cause you to hate and disrespect your spouse. Excessive anger. When your anger is uncontrollable, and sometimes you wonder, when I become angry, I can't control myself and I say things or do things, and later on I regret and have to, and it's affecting your relationship. It's not you, it's a spirit. Through the spirit spouse, it can possess you to be. When a woman is possessed by the spirit husband, they can really beat up their husbands and be very violent. They are not using their new human energy or strength. It's the spiritual spouse that can come over the woman to just be very angry and say things, and some women have missed their opportunity to have entered into marriage, because that thing will come upon them, and somebody they were courting with, they will show their other side when that spirit spouse manifests with excessive anger. irritated, and then they'll say things or do things to hurt their partner in relationship, and the person will say, wow, I don't think I can handle this level of anger. Then later on, when you cool down, you come back and say, I didn't know what I did. No, it's a spiritual spouse that can possess you to do that, just to really cause your partner to think twice about you. But that's not who you really are. It's the spiritual spouse. And that's why God, in Jesus' name, must deliver you. They can control, manipulate, influence, and dominate decisions and choices. Listen to this carefully. They can manipulate, control, influence, and dominate your decisions and your choices. And that's why you give a lady an opportunity 5 times to make a decision about their soulmate, and 5 times they'll keep on choosing the wrong men into their lives. And you ask, why are you not learning from your past mistake? Don't you know the kind of men who always come in to abuse you, to use you, to dump you, to exploit you, to take advantage of you? So why do you keep on going for the same men? Like Jesus meeting the woman with the woman at the Samaritan woman, and it says that you have married 5 times, and the 6th one right now is still not your husband. Why? Because the woman kept on making the same mistakes. And some of you, your decision about who you feel is your taste for a husband or a wife, it's not you, it's the spiritual spouse. They let you pick somebody who will not really love you, but lust after you and use you and dump you. So you realize that some people have been through first marriage, second marriage, third marriage, and still every relationship is still not working because they are always making the same wrong choices. It's not them, it's the spiritual spouse. Yesterday we talked about the fact that many have been dressing in certain ways to entice the marine kingdom. It's not them, it's not their choice. The spirit tells them that this is the kind of dress I want you to wear. This is the sexy dress. This is a cute dress. So they are thinking it's their thought. It's not their thought. It is the spirit telling them to do things that will end them up in more serious situation. Go for this dress, go for this makeup, go for this salon, go to this place. They will lead you into the wrong places where they know you will be contaminated, so that they can have their stronghold in your life. So when they come in to control, to manipulate, and to dominate your decisions and your choices. So sometimes all you have to do is to look back and say, hey, for a couple of years now or weeks now, the decisions I make, if I keep on making wrong choices, wrong decisions, wrong choices, then it means I am under a negative influence. So then you have to now sometimes even submit to somebody who can help you and say, hey, I'm about to do this, then can you cross-check it for me? I know you are much more spiritual, and because when I make decisions, I'm messing up until you get deliverance. Otherwise, you always go back to the same vomit, because the spirit will cause you to make some wrong choices. And I pray that the young woman coming up, you will not just choose out of the flesh, but the Lord will help you through the spirit to make choices as you prepare to enter into relationship. Otherwise, you will pick somebody who physically is okay, and then later on you realize that you make the wrong choice because you were not led by the spirit but by the flesh. They can give you sickness and diseases. Sicknesses and diseases. Tomorrow we'll pray about some of the sicknesses and diseases that can affect people who are having a spiritual marriage. For men, if you don't take care It can cause low sperm count, block men from marrying, delayed marriage, and also when this spiritual marriage is enforced in the life of a woman, you can be living with a man, but the man will never engage you or marry you physically. There are women who have been living with men for more than 10 years, 5 years, and have children with these men, but the men will always give excuse why they can't marry them. They say, oh, we've been living together, we have children together, we even love each other, so why don't you just marry me? And then the man will say, you know what, maybe I'll marry you next month. They will give excuse and excuse and excuse, and every time they try to marry you, something will come up and they will give excuse. But they don't care you living with that person, but the person can never ever engage you or marry you proper. And some people too, that's their problem. Others too, in many families, they will let you come into contact with different men. So you'll find a woman who has 5 children, and this spouse will make each child has a different father. But for you to be married proper by one single man, it will never happen. You can go ahead and marry and have children with men, but you can't marry and stay in marriage. They will not allow that. So you have some women have 5 children, and each child is a different man, and it's a spiritual spouse. You have to know, hey, this is a spiritual spouse. I need to deal with it. I need to deal with it. I need to deal with it. We have instances, this is very extreme cases, whereby when you've been hindered for so long to marry and you force yourself to marry, that's what is called marine persecution. I've had an encounter with one lady from North Carolina. It's one of the extreme cases of spiritual spouse. When she came to one of the conferences in North Carolina, and she had to, during the session of deliverance, she had to go back because she had to go to work, and she had been single for a long time, so she couldn't get any man in the US to marry her. So she decided to go to Africa. I think she was from Cameroon, and went to Cameroon and found an old friend, and they got together and decided to marry. So now this guy, they married in Cameroon, and then he filed for the guy to come here. And mind you, sometimes the guys are only coming in because of their own interest. It's not because they love you. I'm in Cameroon, you are in the US, I want to come to the US, so I just have to play along. And that's how some of you are being deceived on social media, because you've tried your cards in the US, it's not working. Somebody from somewhere in Africa, and then they begin to email, inbox you some certain sweet words, and you tell yourself, finally I found somebody who really loves me. Please, some of them are just trying to leave their country to come to the US, and they are just trying to use you in the name of marriage. But once they get here, they will divorce you or live their lives. And many women, because of inferiority complex, low self-esteem, and the fact that they have been lonely and single for so long, they are just desperate to just be in a relationship. So they fall into these traps on social media, especially Facebook dating. You met one African guy somewhere. I'm not saying all of them, but if you really don't know the person, have not examined the person, cross-check the person, you don't know what church they go to, who they are, and just because they gave you some sweet words through your inbox and posted some pictures, and then gullible women fall into this trap, and just later on their hearts are broken. I've seen it too many times. So he brings the guy here. They are married, but within a month or two, the guy called me, and I was surprised. I was thinking she was going to call me, and the guy says, "You remember me?" And I said, "Who are you?" I says, I'm the guy. My wife used to come to your deliverance conference, and we are the ones who presented ourselves to you, one of your conference that we've been married." And I said, "Oh, I remember your wife. Yeah, in North Carolina. I remember he came back and showed you to me that he's finally married." But he said, I'm sorry to tell you, my wife is no more. She's dead." What happened? Ever since we got married, she'll be sleeping and she'll be dreaming like something is sitting on her chest, or something is trying to suffocate her or choke her. So she wake up from her sleep. So she was going through the marine persecution. She was not meant to be married, and she married, and they were now attacking her. But on this instant, many times when these things happen, and she'll be talking in a dream, and she'll wake up, and then she'll pray. But on this day, when she was having that battle, when she was sleeping with her husband, she couldn't come back. By the time they called the ambulance, she was already gone. That is the highest level. There are women who are sealed, marine seal are on them. The day they marry, within 3 months or 3 years, they will die. Or whoever marries them will die. That's a higher level of dedication, meaning the person was dedicated to a certain idol, or a certain river, or a certain altar. And therefore, if you dare marry that person, you will die, or they will be killed for breaching the covenant. So it is in different degrees, and even in the spiritual marriage, there are different levels. There are levels whereby some people only dream it. Others too, it has gone beyond dream. Even physically, they can feel an unseen being touching them, flirting with them, and making sexual advances in their private part, even in broad daylight. The intensity. So we have different. That's what I'm saying. When we talk about spiritual marriage, Incubus Succubus is just one. If you are coming from India, many of the spirits that marries people from India or Asian countries are, or Japan and China and all those things, are their idols, the Buddha, the Hindu. They don't have to worry about Incubus Succubus. They have to worry about the idols. Recently, my wife works in a place whereby the pharmacist has twins, and she posted a picture of the twins lying down and the Buddha or Hindu's idol in between the children. Already the children are dedicated. So if you are coming from such backgrounds, it's the spirit, the religious spirit, that marries you, and it can determine that no other person will marry you or influence your marital lives as they wish. That's how it also works. When you are coming from Africa, you don't have to worry about, unless you are coming from a village or a township whereby it's close to the river, then you have to be worried about the marine Incubus Succubus. Other than that, many times there are spirits of the altar spirits, idols of different families that marries people from that. If you are from the Caribbeans, because of the islands surrounded by water, you are dealing with the Incubus Succubus plus ancestry, because when slavery was done, some of the slaves that were brought from Africa and left in these Caribbean lands came with their idols. So you have ancestry worship, that can also marry. So people from Jamaica, Trinidad, and all these other places, you have to be working with the marine kingdom plus ancestry, family idols that can also marry you and affect your marriage. So you have to know your geographical location. In the US, Western world, majority is Incubus Succubus, the marine system, and also people who are into secret societies, marine secret societies and lodges, fraternities are all married to all this. Also Incubus Succubus. So when you get this, when you are praying, somebody from Africa should not be worrying about Incubus Succubus. Think about the altar and the shrine in your mother's house, in your father's house. That could be the reason. And sometimes to witchcraft in the family, household witchcraft can marry you to make sure that you don't also marry and enjoy your marriage. They can destroy finances. Sometimes pay attention. Your spouse was doing very well until the day you got married. Then immediately their finances, their jobs, everything started crashing. Remember that it's because of the spiritual spouse. It's called marine persecution. When a person has a spirit husband or wife and you marry them, the spirit wife will punish you for marrying them by garnishing your finances. So immediately financial challenges will start setting in, and you realize that we were okay, but immediately I married you. And that's why many men takes their frustration on women when they marry, because they would think that you are the bad luck in their lives, and they are right in saying so, but they just don't understand the spiritual dynamics. Because sometimes they think, before I met this girl, this lady, and I married her, I was doing my business, I was doing well, I could. Immediately we got married, it's like bad luck, disappointment, rejection, failures, nothing's working. So now they begin to think that you are the one who is fighting their destinies, and then they begin to be hostile and angry to you, and they'll tell you that you are the reason why I'm not prospering, I'm not doing well. They see you and they are just angry. And when the spirit is in you, it will let your husband see you and just become very hostile and mean to you. The more nice you become, the more meaner, because the spirit will let them do everything so that you will opt out, or they will opt out of the relationship, so that they will have you to themselves. It's a very, very, very evil spirit. And that's why yesterday I told you about making yourself free. If you knew what it does and how it affects our lives, you do everything not to allow yourselves to be contaminated, so that they don't ruin your life or your marriage. They have a way of making a woman age. You see a lady who is in her 30s, and when you see her face, you would think she is in her 50s. So everybody around the 30s think that because she's 50, it is not their age group. They have aged your face. They have aged your face. So men see you as a 30-year person who could marry somebody who is 20, but they see you more older, and it's a spiritual thing. It's a spirit spouse that will make you look like that spiritually. Sometimes too, they will make the woman look like a man spiritually. So when men come around you, they feel like they are just dealing with another brother, and it's a spiritual thing. So when God delivers you, you see how people begin to say, "Hey, where have you been?" And you are saying, "I've been." No, you were. They place a veil in your face so much that people cannot even see you as a woman. We have also what's called the marine serpentine spirit. they work with snakes. And most of these serpents, marine, when somebody is possessed by marine Incubus Succubus, they can lodge in your stomach as a snake, and sometimes you feel things moving in your body. And that's where they also eat up the woman's eggs so that they cannot be pregnant. So whenever you talk about serpentine, it's also related to the marine. And that's why when you are not careful and discerning in choosing rings, bracelets, necklaces, they will put a snake in their shops and blind you to go and pick it and put it on your hands, fingers, ankles, and then the snake spiritual is called. And many times they are around the waist of this woman. They are around the waist. Many of these contaminations take place through sex. There are people those of you who like fornicating with men and women, be careful, because not everybody's genitals is normal. Some men's genitals are snakes, and when you have sex with them, they deposit the snake into you. Some women's private is not ordinary, it's a snake opening. You are putting your penis into a snake's mouth. You will never be the same. After that, you'll be rendered impotent. If people understood the mysteries of the marine kingdom, we will not live a careless, ignorant life. Taking everything, putting everything on, sleeping around. You will be very careful. I have on a YouTube a woman whose private part, a snake is coming out. How did they get there? And you go and have sex with such a person, they deposit a snake in you. You will never be. That's why some men have really messed up their destinies. They thought they were just going to have sex with a woman. They were married. They were going to have sex with these marine agents. And then we have what's called marine babies. Marine babies, when you have children in the spiritual world, because they come to have sex with you, because they have sex with you, you're able to have children in the spiritual realms. And these are some of the children that they incubate and bring them back into the physical realms to come and seduce other men or women into the marine industry. And that's what I'm saying. During this summer, for instance, you will find so many beautiful men, handsome men and beautiful women in the beaches around, and mysterious people, very handsome, very charming, and you date them, you sleep with them, and they initiate you, and they disappear back into the ocean. So people must be very, 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 very careful. Very, very careful. The topic of the marine kingdom is very huge, because even just the marine, the sea, the ocean is 70%, and the land is 30%. So you can imagine what goes on in that astral world. Astral world. I'm just giving you some highlights of things you should just pay attention to, and not let down your guards, so that you are not contaminated. You are not contaminated. Some of the ways you can be contaminated or initiated, or the spirit can enter you, through ancestral covenant with the Queen of the Coast. Many people whose villages or backgrounds are close to the seas and rivers and lakes and oceans, they realize that they worship the water gods, and by so doing, they make a covenant with the water. So it's easy for the water to marry people coming from the bloodline, whether it's Nigeria, Ghana, Africa, wherever. If you are close to the sea, be very careful. Marine is able to have a covenant with all the inhabitants of those areas. And because the ancestors used to worship the river gods or the queen of the coast, they dedicate their children to them. Through your ancestors or parents initiating you into the marine kingdom. A lady came for deliverance and her children cannot get married. She has about 3 children. None of them is married. Why? Because she went to a white garment church and some other marine shrines to ask for help to become pregnant because she was barren. And they mixed some concoction and gave her eggs and gave her things to drink and bath and all those things. And then she became pregnant. But from that day, all her children has been dedicated to the marine. So though she became pregnant, her children now belong to the marine and they block them from getting married. So she got her children, but the children are dedicated. How does that? It's in the Bible. When Hannah could not become pregnant and vowed a vow to God, if you will give me a male child, I will dedicate him to you. So now there was a covenant. Give me a man child and I'll give him back to you. So God gave him Samuel, and Hannah, the mother, gave Samuel back to God. And Samuel lived all his life dedicated to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Some of us also, our parents went into different spiritual sangoma, went into Malabu, went to a witch doctor, a psychic, a false white garment church, an oracle, some place to look for help. And they bargained. We need healing. We need prosperity. We need fame. We need affluence. We need power. We need protection. What in return? So any place you go and they are wanting to help you and they tell you to bring a chicken or eggs, be very careful. Because the eggs represent either your children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. So the egg they give to you to do that thing for you, it means that one day, one of your children or grandchildren, they will come for them. They will come for them. They will come for them. If they use a chicken or a fowl, remember, life for life. You got the help, but they will also come for you. So some of us, our parents dedicated. If you have also been to white garment churches, be careful. And now it is, they don't have to be white garment. There is so many false marine prophets who are very sensational, and we see many people going into their ministries because people are desperate. They just want answers and solutions. Prophet, give me water, give me candle, give me this, and give me and by so doing they are initiating these individuals into the marine. Just by laying their hands on you, they have initiated you. Just by you getting their product, the water they gave you, the bundles, all these things, they have sacrificed it to the marine. And that's why in this day and age, we all need the spirit of discernment. Because one encounter with a marine false prophet, you are initiated without your knowledge, and it will also be passed down. And that's why you have to be very careful in this day and age. But of late, modern Christians don't want to take responsibility. They don't want to fast. They don't want to pray. They don't want to read the Bible. They don't want to stand on truth. They want somebody who will show up as a showman, a superman, who says, I can do this, I can do this. Do you know where he got his power from? All you need is a solution. You'll get a solution, all right, but with a greater, the devil doesn't give anything for free. Many people have gone there and have traded their souls into the marine kingdom. You may have gotten your temporal breakthrough, but you have traded your soul into the marine. If you don't pray, your children, grandchildren will start fighting the marine kingdom. So we have ancestral parents initiating their own children into the marine kingdom. Also, true love spells. True love spells. People can assign these demons to come into your life. Love spells. Somebody love you but they know you will reject their proposal, they can take you to a witch doctor and cast a last spell, and then they will start having a relationship with you. The same spirit can now also marry you or have access. If you are somebody who have in the past visited psychics and different cults and all those things, it's easy for them also to get the marine spirit to marry you. Through sexual transference, a person carrying marine can always transfer the marine, and that's why some of you have to be prayerful. If your spouse have it and you are not heavy in prayer and fasting, the dreams they are having, very soon you will also be having the same dreams of somebody coming to sleep with you because of marine transference. Fornication will invite marine spirit. Adultery, because anything you are breaking God's word, easy access. Adultery, marine. Pornography, marine. Many men and women have contracted marine through masturbation and pornography. And some of these sex toys are coming from me. I don't know what they are, but so I can see most of the sex toys are coming from the marine industry. So once you use it, the astral project into you, and then this spirit will now be with you. The wrong person you sleep with, you make an ungodly soul tie, and then the person is married to you. Provocative dressing, we've talked about it at length. Exposing your body, lust, sexual movies, sexual songs, these are all. And some of you will know how it entered by yesterday's deliverance. Some of you were feeling tears coming from your eye. It could be it entered through your eye gate. Some of you knows and whatever. If you were passing out and all those things, it can also show you how the spirit gets in. Some of the things you also know that you are dealing with this marine is the kind of dreams that you have. Having sex in dreams with strangers or with animals. And some people think it's normal to the point that they would rather prefer the sex in dreams than even the physical sex with their spouse. It's demonic. Even if you have sex, have seen your husband's face, it's demonic. Don't accept it. Pray against it in the name of Jesus Christ. Some of you, they will not have sex with you, but you feel that when you wake up, you don't see yourself having sex, but when you wake up, you feel like after sex. Some people they just wake up and they see the semen of a man on them, or they see themselves with fluids. It means it happened, but you didn't just recognize it. Or some people don't feel anything at all, but they just feel as though somebody has somehow touched them. They have had a sexual encounter, but it wasn't very aggressive one for them to. So some people say, me, I don't dream and see, I don't have sex in my dream, but then too, I know that something happened, or I don't feel myself. That could be a thing. Or sometimes you feel like somebody sleeping by you, because remember, it is not all relationships that ends up in marriage. That's what I'm saying. With this marine, we have what's called marine cohabitation. Marine cohabitation. They can live with you and not have sex with you, but they are like roommates. The spirit just is with you in your house. When you go to your bedroom, it's in the bedroom. It sits in the bed. It sleeps by you. It's just that probably they don't even have sex with you, but you are mine. You are my girl, or you are my man. I just don't allow any other person to come between us, but we don't have sex. It's possible. Some people are in a relationship, they don't have sex, but they are very intimate, very close. Seeing yourself under the ocean or crossing rivers, swimming with fish, or crossing rivers. Whenever you dream and seeing water bodies a lot, getting married in your dreams, it means you are already married spiritually. So physically, they will not let you marry. Nursing babies, you see yourself carrying a lot of babies, it could be a sign that you have spiritual marine babies. So physically, they are blocking you from being pregnant. Getting married in a dream, many times, I wouldn't say all, many times, is also a sign that you are dealing with the marine. You are dealing with the marine. The marine can cause your spouse to be narcissistic, mental cruelty. They will treat you as though, and you say, this is not the man I'm married, so why is he becoming cruel? Why is he becoming so mean and so heartless, callous? No, there's a spirit that is causing them to do that, or commit infidelity, adultery, cheat on you, hate you, disrespect you, cause unforgiveness. And it can attack a lot of our finances. So this is somehow, I pray that this will be able to give you an understanding of what we are dealing with. First of all, let's deal with how we are going to pray and ask the Lord Jesus Christ to have mercy on us and deliver us, and deliver us. Yeah, and deliver us, and deliver us from these evil spirits, so that you can be free. Because some of you have been single for so long, barren for so long, lonely for so long, endured marriage instead of enjoying marriage for so long. Even it is not the will of God for human beings to marry spirits. It is not the will of God. God did not desire, because the Bible says that angels do not marry in heaven. And what? So it is not the will of God that a human being marry a spirit. Spirits live in their own world. Human beings live in their own world. Why should there be a mixture? So we are going to pray, and first of all, thank God. Open your mouth and begin to thank God and worship Him as we get ready. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus.
Muted.
Thank you, Jesus. I want you to thank God. Thank God, thank God, thank God that today is your day of deliverance. Thank God for revealing to you truth that will make you free and also set you free from the marine kingdom. Worship the name of God, because the God that we serve has power to deliver us